So I can get away with it a bit, I hope. I'm going to try to. And I'm going to say no. I got straight away. I wouldn't say no, but I think it might be under threat. So that's what I would like to look at. So then I thought, okay, so what do I think is a threat? There's all kinds of threats, so I said I just focus on a few. MOOCs seem to be the word at the moment, so I'm going to mention a little bit about these. If you don't know what they are, that's massive online open courses. But also perhaps institutional learning might be under threat from other areas that people can learn from. So for example, work training or personal studies. So just thinking about those three areas, apart from the MOOCs, I'd say the other two aren't new. So let's have a look at it. So what is institutional learning? Well, I think generally I'm thinking of it in terms of students who come here and learn with us and from us and hopefully read from them. But also institutional learning for me is about how the institution learns from within and from outside. And so linking with today's celebration, institutional learning is as much about the research that we do and the research that we share and the research that we learn from as it is about teaching and working with students. But I am the director of the Teaching Commons, so you shouldn't be surprised if I now focus more on the teaching side of things. Having said that, I do some research myself too. So I had a question when I joined York, coming as I do from the text and the accent, I don't know, from somewhere else. How does this place work? And one way of looking at this is who pays for what happens. And so I've asked a few questions, and I'm absolutely delighted to hear and to learn about all the research that's coming in, particularly through the Faculty of Education. That is a tremendous achievement. But I wonder if we're always aware that that's not where the majority of our funding comes from. The majority of our funding, and a big majority of our funding, comes from undergraduate tuition, both in the form of fees that students pay and government funding. So obviously the funds that we bring in allow us to do the research that we want to do. But if we only had the research funding, we wouldn't be able to do this at all, because research funding doesn't cover things like this table. Whether you work with it or not, we need it to lean on, right? It doesn't cover the lighting, it doesn't cover all the things that allow us to do this work. So for me, I think it's important to look at the market. Drawing on John's point earlier, what makes things happen and how can we engage and continue to do what we want to do. So undergraduates for me are the powerhouse of this institution. If we don't have the undergraduates, however wonderful and brilliant we are, we won't be able to do these other things. So is institutional learning dead? I think we've got to look there. So that's my focus. So my research involves looking at teachers' expectations about students and then looking at student performance. And for me, I found there's a gap between the two. And so I'd like to ask ourselves, do we, obviously there's quite a bit more we said that you might want to contest, but having said that, do we pay sufficient attention to our undergraduates? Now, you may well be more aware than I am of the number of people involved in teaching at York. It's around 5,000 people. That's a lot of us engaged in teaching. How much support are we giving to all of those groups of people? 5,000 who are involved in teaching our students. Whilst, as a researcher, I'm interested in gathering data and surveying and getting numbers. I'm also interested in hearing what people say, and I find anecdotes can be a useful starting point, or at least a way of getting a barometer of what people are saying. And one example would be that I've been told and I've heard that contract faculty, for example, many of our, and that may be some of you in the audience, I don't know, but contract faculty particularly feel very isolated in their role as teachers. And bear in mind, I'm talking about York, I'm not talking specifically about our own faculty, but many contract faculty feel isolated. Some students are not always entirely happy with their experience. So, for example, a colleague of mine was sitting behind some students travelling to Toronto and heard two students talking to each other, and one saying to the other, well, you read to us for 3 hours. what's the point? I can just read the book myself. I don't think that's the only student that's ever said that. I'm not sure it's not all students' experience, but one student's experience, I think it's worth considering. So then I thought to myself, okay, what's that? Why do students do that? There are issues. Now we'd hope it's because they enroll to study whatever the subject is because they've got a burning passion and an interest in the subject. And many of them do, and remarkably some of them still do after 4 years. It's great. However, an awful lot of them, certainly my research, when I asked students, why are you here? And this research was done at a number of universities, not including yours, so make a story. Why have you come here? The vast majority of students said the overriding reason for coming to university was because they believed it would help them to get a better job than if they didn't come. That doesn't mean it's the only reason they come, and that's the only thing that's on their mind, but it is an overriding reason. And it's not only the reason that they come, but it's the reason often that their parents support them to come, and the reason their teachers tell them to come to university. You will do better in the life's journey if you go to university. And whilst many of us might say the reason for that is because you're better educated, you'll be better able to be a citizen of our nation, the message that students often get is financially I'll be better off. And they have to get that message because otherwise why would you engage in a 4-year experience which will leave you $40,000 or greater dollars in debt that there has to be some payoff somewhere. So sorry if this sounds like all I think about is money. It isn't. But there's a certain driver there, right? I also think we need to be conscious of our students, and it's very interesting that here at York, the proportion of students who have already tried going down the route of going straight into the job market before coming into the institution is very high. I don't know how aware you are of the figures across the university as a whole, but it is around 10,000 students who are mature students, as defined by being over 25 at the time they enrolled or out of school, high school for 5 years. The 10,000 students, undergraduate students, that's around 20% of our students are mature students. So many of them are coming thinking that they will get a better job if they do. They're coming for other reasons as well, but that is one reason. Now, a lot of students will also work, particularly here at York. A huge proportion of our students work. And my research has shown that that's definite link between students who work, paid work, for more than 10 hours a week, and are on a full-time programme, their grades will suffer. So students come, they think, well, I'm going to work because that'll help me to stay out of debt, but I live with less of a debt than I would have done. What many of them won't be able to say is that not only will that impact badly on the grades that they'll get at the end of their study, but many students will also think it's better to work. It might take me longer to complete my degree, but I'll end up with less debt. Actually, they won't, because often it means that they have to study longer than they would have done. And the cost of studying is greater than the part-time job they get, however much Starbucks might pay. It's not that good. So they end up with a larger debt. Doctoral students, I know we have some here. Oh, thank you. Good morning, I'm going through my time. Doctoral students also may think they're coming here to because the PhD will give them a key to an academic career. The numbers tell us differently. In fact, at the moment, between 15 and 20% of PhD students will go into academia. The other 80 to 85% won't. So we need to think about this. So why is it then do around 75% of Ontario's high school graduates come to university? And it's partly because they think they'll get a better job, but there are two reasons then that's necessary. Why coming to university means that might help. One is that the accreditation, these MOOCs that I mentioned at the outset, that means that increasingly our learning could be done out in the ether. All we need is a laptop, and we can just log on and we can learn. But that's not enough because that doesn't give us the accreditation. So that's one big thing. Institution learning will carry on so long as we can say, yes, you passed, you're accredited. But the other really big reason is that learning, and I no idea. Connie and I haven't stopped this beforehand, but hopefully it's been very clear. But by being able to engage in conversation and communication, that's how students learn. That's why we need students to come here and do that. Now, we can do that online, again, this is obviously demonstrated, but we need to be here together in order to do that. So, I'm going to cut what I've got to say short and say that for me, institutional learning is a threat. It's absolutely vital, but it is under threat if we don't address some of the issues. And for me, that means looking at the experience of the undergraduate students and those of us, 5,000 of us engaged in teaching them and ensuring that we do this as well as we might and we give appropriate support to them involved.